Today, I announced that Takata has agreed to declare that airbag inflators are defective. It is recalling these inflators, and these recalls are nationwide. Let me repeat that. Takata has agreed to declare that their airbag inflators are defective.
The American consumer has become somewhat bored with news about recalls, a few million gallons of ice cream here, a few million Vegematics where the blades come off and fly across the room there. But all of this will now forever pale in comparison to the blockbuster recall that hit the roadways of America, the largest recall for a consumer product in American history, all tucked away into a few slots and crevices in your car and designed to keep you safe and snug when working. Pleasure to welcome back the only automotive expert we talk to about such matters, nationally syndicated racer aficionado of all that is automotive, the car coach, Lauren Fix, whom we even caught on the road here tonight because we needed to get the real skinny on this. Lauren, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Ed. This is a really important story, and consumers really need to pay attention this time.
But what I think the consumers are going to ask, Lauren, is, okay, 34 million cars in the U.S., 33.8 million actually. But again, we've seen this in drips and drabs as it's come along. Why couldn't they get it right in the first place and just say, look, recall them all. We keep finding something else wrong.
Well, I honestly have to blame NHTSA a little bit for letting Takata push them around, saying, oh, it's a regional thing and only cars in the Southeast are having this problem and we're not seeing this problem elsewhere. Well, now we're at 6 deaths and hundreds of people getting injured because of airbag deployments that are not functioning the way they were designed. And the problem is consumers tend to miss it when it's regional and they have to rely on a dealer. But you as the consumer need to be aware that this is affecting a lot of cars, not just here, but overseas. And the real story is the way the manufacturing of this airbag is faulted is what's causing deaths and injuries, and it needs to be addressed immediately. And it is not the fault of the manufacturer. This is a fault of Takata. And they finally got Anthony Fox to say, listen, we're done playing this game, and there's going to be legal action on top of this.
All right, Lauren, did Takata just simply cheap out in this? Did they use defective parts or something that they knew were simply substandard?
I don't think this was consciously done. What happened was ammonium nitrate is what's used to cause the charge for the inflator to deploy. And when moisture gets into the ammonium nitrate, it changes the structure of the chemical. And therefore, when it ignites quicker than it's supposed to. And the frame around on the steering wheel and also on the passenger side where the airbag is retained in is actually getting destroyed because it's deploying at such a high rate and much quicker than what it was planned. And this is a problem because now you've got the shards from around the frame of the airbag going at the passengers or the driver.
So it would sound as if that maybe they didn't use improper materials here, but they didn't do enough testing in the first place. Wouldn't proper testing have shown this to be a problem, and this could have been stopped right at the initial point of manufacture?
Right. Well, what happened was they used to use sodium azide. And if you go and look at the Department of Transportation and the NHTSA reports when they started interviewing them, that's the previous product was that they used. And then they switched from the traditional sodium azide to ammonium nitrate. Now, I don't know, I'm not a chemist, but I will tell you that if we're having this problem, it may have been because of expense cost, it may have been access to getting the materials, whatever it might be, but this company could put itself out of business when it was one of the #1 suppliers of airbags worldwide. And now they're going to get a full recall of 33.8 million vehicles. And the biggest concern to me is consumers picking up the phone, calling the dealer, getting their airbags replaced, not waiting, and going to safercar.gov and see if your car is on the list.
I got about a minute left here. You started this off by talking about NHTSA being pushed around, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. What did you mean by that? They're a government agency. How can you push somebody around like that who's supposed to be looking out for the safety of the passenger?
Well, they were in between commissioners at the time, and they've got Rosekind is now in charge. He's a much heavier hand, and you have to remember how this works. A lot of people that work for National Highway Traffic Safety Administration have left over the years because people change jobs and they go to the OE or the manufacturer's side. Well, in this case, Takata just said, no, this is not a recall. We only have documentation that shows it's a regional problem. So that's a problem that NHTSA should have said, no, we are in charge here. We are here to protect the consumer. That is our job. But when they're in between administrations and they're in between different commissioners in charge, they were able to manipulate the system. And I think that has got to end. And with Rosekinden, I'm afraid he might be too heavy-handed, but this is a very smart move on his part. I would rather see people be safe on the roads and feel confident in the vehicles that they own than be sorry.
Get your vehicles checked out. 33.8 million defective vehicles. Make sure that yours is not one of those that are affected. It is imperative. Reminder once again, go to laurenfix.com, check out everything automotive. And she, the car coach, is nice enough to join us here. Lauren, thanks a lot for checking in from the road. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you, Ed.
All right, Lauren, take care. Check your vehicle. Don't wait to be told. Stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes in news, The Hardline, rolls on.